David Shaw here with another off-the-record story. If you want to learn more about Washington, D.C., come visit my site, offtherecordtours.com. Let's go. With the brilliant white sarcophagus overlooking the nation's capital, the guard marching 21 steps in front of it, the inspection of the relief sentinel, and the crowd staying at a respectful distance, the scene at the tomb of the unknown soldier seems unchanging. Except it's not. How visitors interact with the tomb, its design, and how it's guarded has changed greatly over the years. The tomb was constructed in 1921, and as this photo shows, the job of digging down 20 feet was done by African Americans. When complete and dedicated, the tomb has a very simple cover. At this time, people were able to walk up to the tomb to pray, lay a wreath, conduct a service, or just take a photo. In 1925, a visitor to the tomb saw something he thought disrespectful: picnicking. It should be noted, however, that at that time, picnicking in cemeteries was not unusual. In the late 19th century, cemeteries were the closest things to public parks. And with epidemics raging and 1 in 10 women dying in childbirth, a visit to the cemetery was a common occurrence. And while European cemetery churchyards were austere with reminders of eternal damnation, in the New World, cemeteries were often open and inviting gardens and woods, and people flocked to them to socialize in the fresh air. Now, the tomb was constructed at a time when improvements in public health care decreased early deaths, public parks became more common, and cemetery picnicking became less so. And so the complaint about picnicking led to the first fence around the tomb, followed by the first guard. The tomb was completed in 1926 with the addition of the sarcophagus, the front stairs, and the pathways we recognize today. Initially, the sarcophagus had no fence around it, but around 1938 one is installed. But unlike today, people were allowed to move freely around the tomb and go on the front steps. The tomb was close to them, not walled off. One sailor even proposed to his girlfriend there. But in some of these photos, it seems that the guards, not the tomb, is the main attraction to visitors. And at some time, it was decided to keep visitors at a distance. For many years, the guards were all white men. The first African American to guard the tomb was Fred Moore in 1960, and the first woman wasn't until 1997, when Heather Johnson takes her post. By the 1970s, the graves of the Kennedy brothers brought record numbers of visitors to the cemetery. The 1926 amphitheater design could only accommodate 200 visitors to watch the changing of the guard. In 1974, the portico steps of the east side of the amphitheater were expanded so that 800 people could now witness the ceremony. Uniforms, formations, inspection procedures, and wreath-laying rituals have changed here over time. What hasn't changed, however, is the importance of remembrance. Remembering those who sacrificed not only their lives, but their very identities. Remembering that the rights we enjoy today are made possible by the sacrifice of those who came before us. And remembering that there are those who would take those same rights from us unless we are constantly vigilant. Well, I hope you enjoyed that off-the-record story. If you want to learn more about Washington, D.C., things seen and unseen, arrange your tour of your nation's capital at offtherecordtours.com. Until then, I'm David Shaw.